40. That's the rough number of lives the streets of Memphis have tallied since the moment Young Dolph's light was snuffed out outside a family-run cookie shop. 40 funerals, 40 fresh graves, 40 stories that ended in gunsmoke and sirens. Yet only one question matters now. How far will his protégé-turned-avenger Key Glock go before the city can finally breathe again? Strap in, because the answer winds through prison bars, platinum plaques, and a trail of retribution that just keeps widening. But that's only the opening shot. If you grew up on Castalia Street, you learned quick that bedtime stories were told by police scanners, not picture books. Markeyvius, Key Glock. Cathey had barely learned to talk when the system slammed shut on both parents. His mom, Tamika, known in the neighborhood as Mama Glock, caught a 15-year bid after a robbery hustle backfired. Pops drifted in and out, a ghost wearing skin. Grandma held the house together with prayer and cast iron grit, but the street still seeped in through the floorboards. At 6, Glock could already field strip a bicycle faster than he could finish math homework. By middle school, he'd recorded his first track, Actin, on a borrowed laptop, rapping into a busted headset. At 18, he was cuffed for an aggravated assault case that sprayed shrapnel through a Memphis nightclub. 90 days in county gave him time to replay one thought on a loop. Music is the only exit that doesn't end in a casket. Yet the universe had more than melodies in mind, because somewhere upstream, another Cathey cousin was about to tilt his crown toward the boy from Castalia. Adolph Thornton Jr., the world called him Young Dolph, didn't just rap about independence, he wore it like armor. When he and Glock reconnected in 2016, Dolph heard the hunger in the youngster's cadence and decided, I can help you skip the shark-infested middleman. What followed was pure grind. Glock season. Yellow tape. Son of a gun. Streams ballooned. Show money doubled. And the pair's joint project, Dumb and Dumber, carved their names into Southern rap granite. Dolph never spoon-fed. He'd flip Glock a mic and say, if you freeze, the crowd'll eat you. And Glock never froze. The duo's humble but deadly aura made promoters drool, and rivals twitch. Yo Gotti's collective music group watched the paper route caravan rising like a rival kingdom. Subtle jabs on wax turned into open disses, then into rumored price tags on heads. And what happened next would redraw Memphis street maps in blood. 2017 felt cursed. Dolph's bulletproof SUV got Swiss cheesed with over 100 rounds in Charlotte. Miraculously, he walked away. Months later, he took multiple hits outside Hollywood's Lowe's Hotel, but survived again. Each misshapen piece of lead whispered the same promise. Next time, we won't blink. Online, CMG's Black Youngsta and Gotti's older brother Big Jook lobbed insults like hand grenades. Dolph fired back on records. Glock, boiling with loyalty, loaded subliminals of his own. Twitter fingers fluttered, bounties were murmured. Some said 6 figures. The city could smell the fuse burning. Then came the November nobody wanted but everyone foresaw. Makita's homemade cookies sat on Airways Boulevard as a harmless sugar stop, until it became a crime scene headline. In broad daylight, gunmen pulled up, glass shattered, and Memphis froze. Young Dolph was gone at 36. Key Glock's Instagram went dark. No tweets, no interviews. He left town, trading familiar corners for hotel corridors in cities where no one pronounced Memphis with the same ache. When he reemerged, a portrait of Dolph inked across his forearm. There was a flicker behind his eyes that wasn't there before. Equal parts grief and grim determination. I'm proud, he rapped on a tribute single, voice cracking on the hook. But the pain didn't stay poetic for long. Within 30 days of Dolph's murder, insiders counted over 40 retaliatory shootings. Police radios sounded like beat drops. Mothers slept with living room lamps on, praying their sons weren't next. Because Glock wasn't just mourning, he was strategizing, and the first salvo was about to hit play. Early 2022, Glock slid back to the mic with Already Know, Reloaded, and Da Truth. Lines slashed at Yo Gotti's camp, at Black Youngsta's braggadocio, at anyone rumored to have cheered when Dolph fell. Bloggers labeled it career suicide. Glock called it therapy. The streets echoed the lyrics. Comedian Darian Childs mocked Dolph on Facebook. He was fatally shot days later. Big Nusky, Moneybag Yo's cousin, was gunned down outside an apartment complex. CEO Tezzi, a reputed True La Mafia shot caller, met the same fate the following summer. None of these murders were officially tied to Glock or PRE, but the message felt carved in stone. Every laugh at Dolph's expense would cost a life. And just when it seemed the scorecard couldn't get uglier, fate snatched a princess from the board. September 24th, 2022. Houston. Rising rapper Lakash Desto waited at a red light when two shooters stepped from a sedan and unleashed havoc. She died before sunrise. The twist? Desto's father was Hernandez Govan, the man prosecutors accuse of orchestrating Dolph's hit. Online detectives connected the dots like crime scene yarn, and Memphis gossip surged. Sins of the father, debt paid by the daughter. Govan now sits in pre-trial limbo, his court date looming in mid-2025. If the jury decides he ordered Dolph's assassination, the verdict could yank a final thread from Memphis's fraying peace. Yet vengeance still had one more name to etch in granite. Perhaps the most symbolic strike of all. January 13th, 2024. A gray Memphis sky hung over a repast for a fallen relative of Yo Gotti's family. Inside, mourners wiped tears. Outside, two men lurked beside a white Ford Explorer. Anthony Big Joke Mims, Gotti's older brother and famed social media heckler of Dolph, stepped into his SUV. Gunfire ripped the winter air. When paramedics arrived, Jook was slipping away. The internet spun theories within minutes. Some swore PRE finally rang the bell up CMG's hierarchy. Others whispered rogue actors angling for clout. Police released grainy footage of the getaway truck. No arrests to date. Yo Gotti reinforced security and canceled club dates. Memphis felt the ground move. If they could touch Jook at a funeral, where was sacred? But the clock doesn't halt for grief. A new era was already tuning its instruments. May 2, 2025, Key Glock drops Glockavili. The cover shows a cracked golden crown sinking into black tar, a not-so-subtle message for CMG. The rollout features a 20-city tour and a merch line reading "Long Live Flipper" in stitched cursive. Between shows, Glock hops on Twitch, previewing a track lambasting industry snakes who paid for a hit and still ain't paid the debt. The clip spikes to 1 million views overnight. Meanwhile, in Criminal Court Division 3, Hernandez Govan's trial is set to start July 28th. Justin's straight drop. Johnson's appeal was denied in February. Paper Route and CMG affiliates alike monitor docket updates like playoff scores. Whichever way the gavel swings could shift alliances or spark fresh shootouts. And on the city's south side, murals of Dolph gather fresh candles every week. Nobody needs to say it out loud, but everyone feels it. If the justice system whiffs, the block will pick up the slack. 3 years, 40 bodies, countless lives scarred. Key Glock promised his brother in music that the paper route empire wouldn't fold, and so far he's kept that pledge in blood, ink, and platinum. The next chapter hinges on a courtroom's fluorescent lights. Will a guilty verdict finally grant Memphis a ceasefire? Or will an acquittal crank the cycle back to full auto? Stick around, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because when that verdict lands this summer, the beat of this story won't just drop. It'll either close the casket or blow the lid off all over again. Until then, remember, in Memphis, legacies don't die quietly. They reload.